All right, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, just like Ms. Stacy said, we introduced one of the products called the Smart Converter. In the Smart series, the Smart Converter has able to do more than one functionality. So one of the functionality we introduced is the wireless peer-to-peer. Okay, so the Smart Converter is able to convert vegan to 0.5, vegan to what do you call that? Uh, Vegan input and vegan output, and vegan to Bluetooth. So at the same time, we had another one more called the vegan to peer-to-peer. So we use that as a wireless thing. So since I'm not sure whether you're able to come for the last webinar or not, so let's start with a short video clip on the as an introduction of the wireless part of it. So we can view for 2 minutes of that video, so you can get an understanding what was our previous smart converter was all about. So let me share that part there. Okay. Okay, so before the video, so this is the hardware. So some of the capability of the hardwares, where the wireless part is able to go for 100 meters. So let me show. So we have two devices which connects to as master and slave, and you are able to communicate. As a master, you have a controller, and the slave side you can have the relay and the reader. So now you don't need a wire between them, and you're able to transmit and receive at the same time. So for that, let me show a small video. So most of our videos, we already uploaded that to our YouTube. Okay, so this is from our YouTube. Did I share the audio? Let me see whether I share the audio or not. Share computer audio. All right.
Wireless converter. You would have heard about vegan to RS-485, vegan to TCP, but this time MicroID will introduce you to vegan to wireless. MicroID have two range of products. One is peer-to-peer for mid-range distance and the other LoRa for long-range distance. Let's watch a demo of its working so we can get a better understanding what is the wireless converter is doing. When the car approaches, the reader reads the tag and sends it wirelessly to the controller which is in the guardhouse. And the controller opens the boom gate. Here you can see the wireless and transmitter and receiver's distance. Okay, you guys want to know how far our wireless can go?
So I'm going to skip the some of the distance so we can proceed further. So this is like a distance test. Let me put the longest distance. All right. All right. So I started from here. So
our in-house garage testing took us up to 54 meters.
So this was in our in-house testing.
Our peer-to-peer mid-range has range up to 100 meters. After the indoor testing, we took it out for outdoor testing, where we tested it from 73 meters to 126 meters. Therefore, the recommended range is up to 100 meters. Okay, let's test our long range. This range is up to 500 meters. For this, we only can do outdoor testing. As you can see that I'm sitting far away from the controller. The controller is nearly 505 meters away from me. We have tested between 505 to 550 meters. Therefore, the recommended range we will recommend is up to 500 meters.
Okay, so that was our initial the details on the wireless side. Okay, so before I start our today's smart controller, is there any questions you all can ask? And I'll prepare for the smart controller videos. Later, we will share the YouTube links here and at the on the chat bot later. So y'all can have a look on it. Okay, then. If there's no other questions, I think we have given enough time for others who need to join. And so we will start with our today's program. Today, we're going to introduce you to the smart controller. Okay, so a smart controller, access control. So our smart controller is similar to access control. Okay, and they are the same concept of any type of access control. Okay, so only there's a small differences itself. Okay, so we have it has Wi-Fi capability and also our peer-to-peer capability inbuilt. Okay, so the dimension and the controller is exactly is same as the as small as a card size. I was supposed to show you a video, ended up I'm showing you the manual. Sorry about that. All right. Audio sharing. Okay, so please tell me if you can hear clearly on the video side. If there's anything that you're unable to hear, please do inform us.
Previously, we have introduced to you to Smart Converter as wireless peer-to-peer, which is our own method of pairing between reader, barrier or door with the controller. This time, we are introducing to you to Smart Converter as an access control and how we can replace existing standalone controllers with this. Let me introduce to you MicroID's Smart Controller.
But first, let's look into standalone controllers and their pros and cons. Actually, standalone controllers solves a problem for access control being managed by the software. There are situations where it's hard to set up a communication between software and controller, or it's too much of a cost to just for a few controllers. So standalone controllers is cost effective and lesser maintenance. Many standalone is able to be in every kind of situations or environments. The cons, even though we said there is no need for communication between the software and controller, but without the software, maintaining many users at a single time is difficult, as well as updating new settings or configuration as well. So this is the pros and cons of standalone controllers. MicroID's standalone controller. Okay, let me rephrase that again. MicroID's smart controller. From the image, you can see that our smart controller is quite small. Compared to a standard RFID card, it is still smaller. As you can see in the image there, that controller and the RFID card itself. Anyway, even though it's small, it still is able to do everything that we want it to do or want it to perform. So any controllers, we will always need an output, a relay output. So we have one relay output on this controller. Plus we have two readers. One of the reader is reader 1, which comes along with a push button as well. And the connector for reader 2, which also has a door sensor input as well. Reader 2 is special a bit. Reader 2 can work as input or vegan output. Okay, so in that case is we are able to use this as to output as a vegan to other controllers. So when you receive certain inputs to this controller, you can make it output. So when we will be using these outputs for any kind of conditions, you will see it later. Okay, one of it you'll see it now itself actually. Optionally, we have 433 megahertz receiver. This receiver, okay, because we have an inbuilt decoder, 433 RF decoder. So when we attach this 433 megahertz receiver, we are able to receive any type of remotes and convert them into a vegan card number. So this vegan card number can be used into the access control itself, or I can output it as a vegan output to the other controllers as well using this part. But in this cases, let's concentrate as a access control. Okay, so in that cases, all the remotes, you are able to use them as a vegan card. What else we have is RTC, real-time clock. So real-time clock, I don't have to mention what it does. It keeps track of time. And we have RS485 input and output for other purpose, other usage as well. So this is our complete smart controller. Let's look into a small video demo, the usage of a smart controller.
Okay.
Let us show you how easy it is to use the smart controller. As you can see, we cannot access the door. So what can we do? Let's use the phone app, change the settings. We go to the user list, find for that user, and once we find the user, we will change his time profile. So from time zone 8 to 0, and now we will upload the list to the controller. That's how easy it is. Our smart controller also have a DIN rail case. So it beautifully, nicely fits into the enclosure of DIN rail enclosure, and we are able to strap it into a barrier gate or any DIN rail surface. Or even you can use this enclosure as a box itself to keep it there. This image illustrates how does the DIN rail enclosure looks like, and the size of the DIN rail enclosures, and how we fit in the controller to it. Applications of the smart controller. We have a smart controller, we have multiple different types of readers, and we bring the readers to the smart controller to make it into a standalone access control, or so-called standalone. Why is it we separated out the reader and the controller? If you've seen that standalone controllers, most of it comes as one package system. Okay, the controller and the reader are built in together itself. We separated this out so that we are able to choose any types of design of readers to work with the controller. This way, you can, the users who wants a certain specific looks and design on their surface, they don't have to worry about. Or even your existing customers who has different types of readers already fit in, they just need to purchase the controller to make it to work together. The features of the smart controller. Our smart controller has 2,500 card access. So we have a database which can support up to 2,500 card access. The card access, the binary numbers, it can support between 26 bits to up to 66 bits. Right? So we are depending on the reader, whether you have a 26-bit reader or 34-bit reader, or in the future coming anything 48-bit or 66 bits, we are able to support those readers as well. So in the vegan type of readers, we already fit into the up to 66 bits. Plus, what else we have? Common pin access. So you can have, if you have a keypad reader which is attached to the smart controller, you can use the common pin to access the door itself. Okay, so we have 4 of the common pin. User pin access, this is something that we don't have. User pin is normally accessed by the user individually have their own pins. So in the smart controller, we don't have this user pin access right now. Or I'm not sure whether we'll have it in the future or not, but I will say that we don't have it. Push button. There's one push button to trigger to open the door. Door sensor to immediately lock, to sense the door and to lock. Readers, we have 2. Okay. And here I didn't mention that yes, one of the readers can be used as an output, vegan output. Time zones profile. So we can adjust around 9 profiles. Actually, 8 profile is the one that you can adjust, and one of it is the free access time zone. So totally you have your 9. Holiday list. So holidays, you can have around 20 holiday lists. Okay, so you can set 20 holidays, and timer or sounder, you can have around 16 of it. Okay, so in the timer or sounder, you can adjust the permanent open and close or certain other features of automations of it. Now, smart controller, in our this one, we have additional 3 more functions that is unique. We are able to access, use the smart controller as a Bluetooth access. Okay, we can actually receive Bluetooth signals to enable to trigger to open the door, or we have our Bluetooth app which acts as access card as a Bluetooth app. Encrypted dynamic QR. So we are able to use QR to access the controller, and QR becomes an what do you call that, a card access. As well as we have 433 RF remote which can access as a card as well. That means you can use the RF 433 to access the door, and each RF remote is unique to its as if it's a card number. Every RF transmission has a unique number. So we are decoding the number, and we are able to identify the number and use it as our access control as well. Smart controller. So how do we configure our smart controller? Normally, any type of standalone controllers, okay, you can control them, you can add or set the configuration by using a master card. So you have a default card which will be used for configuration. So in our smart controller also, we can use that as same method as well. Additionally, we do have a keypad method. So even keypad method also you can use. You go through a configuration menu. Okay, you have a documentation which will tell you how to enter into the programming mode and how to install card or delete card, those functionality. But these methods are always tedious. So we also have now in our smart controller, we have web browser. Web browsers has all the explanatory of this is already in the web browser, because now you are able to see them, view them, and able to configure. That's make our smart controller a bit more powerful, because we have inbuilt web browser built inside the microcontroller itself. Additionally, you are able to use phone app. Phone app is something that we can extend the managing and maintaining the user list, user informations, card numbers, and details. And we are able to frequently change their time zone or settings. PC app and phone app, they're identically same. There's no differences between those two. So, but what we are trying to say is we are able to access our smart controller not only by MasterCard or keypad, but we are able to configure them as well. We're using web browser, phone app, and PC app. Even though we have other ways. Guys, before we go any further, is there any questions? All right. So we're going to explain details on the phone app part. Okay. And if there's any questions, please drop the message on the chat. Okay, so after this, we will not have any intermediate pause. Is there any questions? Somebody can voice out, then we can have a pause and answer the questions itself. Okay, let me continue. We have the web, phone app, and PC to do the configuration. In our next video demo, we are onwards, we are only going to concentrate on the phone app as our primary configuration. So we will guide you through our phone app how to add and remove or do any type of settings based on that. Let's look into the app functions. The app have two user logins. One is an admin login and another is a user login. Here we log in as an admin mode. In admin mode, you have full control over the app. You get to access all the functionality of the app. Currently, you can see that you have user list, time zone, sounder, and holiday list, exporting database and importing database, and additionally settings and logout. Well, this is the main dashboard page where you download data to the smart controller. We shall explore some of the app functionalities. First, we check out the user list. Here, we manage the card holders and their names. For example, let's add a new user. We can add the card number in hex format, 10-digit or 8-digit, depending on the reader's number capabilities. Here, for demo purposes, let's use the 8-digit. As you can see that for 8-digit, you need to have the comma in the number system. Then we select the time zone and we give a name and just add that particular user into the database. Let's say in the database, you have 2000 over names and cards. We can actually search them using the search bar. You can search them by name or you can even search by their card numbers. Well, of course, the card numbers, you need to select whether you want to search by hexa value or the 8-digit value. Every numbers you add in, the database actually stores all the numbers in the hexa value. But for our references is the purpose, it converts the hex value numbers into 10-digit or 8-digit. Okay. The controller, our smart controller is able to use up to 66 bits actually. So that means the hexa value numbers we can actually put in around 16 characters. Now standalone is much more smarter already. Let's look into our next function, the time zone. Time zone has 8 zones. Each of it has 2 slots with start time and end time. Let's do an example. We'll set a start time and end time. When you click on the time slot, a time selection pops up. So now we can select the time. Let's do the second slot. Additionally, you can select the days as well. You can define which days that this slot should take place. And you can see that we have a holiday day as well for selection. So that's it. And you can see on the bar there all the details. The next function is a bit unique. It is known as sounder or timer. It actually is an automation where we can automate the system how you want it to behave. In access control, we use them as permanent open or permanent close. Here we have selected as on, which is permanent open. Then following time we selecting as off, which is permanent close. Then we need to set the system back to normal. So once we have selected, we select the normal state and as well. We can select the days where we want it to work, set the time, and you have then the system will start working according to that time. Sounder is bit straightforward. It's very simple and very simple to set. So the next function is the holiday function. So we have 20 lists. We can set actually 20 holiday lists. We can select which dates are the holidays and give a name. Of course, the date is the one is the most important than compared to the name. The days we select it as a holiday, when we upload to the controller on that particular day, it will follow as holiday. This is also pretty much straightforward and simple to set. We have covered most of the smart controllers function. Alright, so now we can look into what else this app can do. One of the functions we have is importing users from the Excel sheet. You can prepare an Excel sheet with the user's name, card number, and even time profile. Then you can import it through the Excel itself. Now let's try to import an example Excel which we already prepared earlier. See there, I'm selecting the Excel and select. Now we can actually view the names. Once we are satisfied with the name, so we know that we imported the right one, we can save the file. It will save it into the database. So now we can do it the opposite, where we can export our database into Excel. So you can keep this as your backup or as your reference into your system. Connectivity. How will we update to the smart controller? Before we can upload, we need to establish connection to the controller. So the first method of connection is the direct method, where we use the smart controller as a Wi-Fi hotspot and connect to it directly from the phone. So this way we have purely established the communication between the phone and the controller. Let's go into our second method. The second method is known as local network. So what happens is, how do I connect to the controller is, I control them via a router. So the first device, the smart controller, will be connected to the router, and my phone is already been connected to the router. So this way we now able to communicate to the controller via the router itself. So this is, we established a local network to bring out this connectivity. The third method of connectivity is something similar to the local network, but now we are using the wide network. Wide area network is known as, we are trying to do a connection between us to the controller via the internet. So now the same thing, the Wi-Fi, the controller, smart controller is connected Wi-Fi with the router. The router, now we do a port forwarding, which will enable us using the app to communicate to the controller through the internet. So this is our third method, known as wide network. So as you can see that we have many different ways that we can establish the connectivity. We are able to do either direct method or Wi-Fi method, which is our local network method, or even the final method is known as port forwarding, where we can access it from outside the premise through the internet as well. Let's now look into how we're going to upload the data. We already established the connectivity. Okay, we already chose the method where how we want to use the connectivity method. So we can proceed uploading the settings and the card list to the controller. So in the next one, we'll show a video demo which will explain each and every one of the procedures. Let's upload card list DB to the controller. Once I click, it'll give me a selection. Then once I selected, I am able to upload to the all the controllers. Same goes to sounder timer. This time I select direct. As you can see that it's taking some time because right now we are connected through Wi-Fi. So we are only able to upload through the Wi-Fi list. So let's look into all the other examples. We will upload one by one to all the controllers. Sync time. Sync time is synchronizing the time between the phone and the device. Now let's go into the example known as download. So card list download. Card list download is we are downloading the entire card list which is installed in the controller. Then we can select which controller we want to download from, and when we download, it will store as an Excel. So now we select a location where we want to save the Excel file. That's it. Now we have downloaded all the card numbers from the controller to the list. New cards is for the purpose of I want to download only the card numbers which is not in my database. That means I have already created a database, and when I'm downloading new cards, it will check. Now let's go look at some of the how the Excel file looks like. We'll go into the location where we downloaded that file and open. This is in my mobile, so you can see that it's more like mobile look. Right, open in Excel and you can see there's 3 columns. The first column is all the card numbers. Second is all the names. The names only appear if it's in the database. And the third one is the time profile. Okay, so you have seen right now how to use the app to upload the details. We'll go into the web browser, a quick look into it. Okay, I'm not going to explain very detailed and every function of the web, but I just want to show you the overview of the web itself. Web browser. We have an inbuilt web browser. Alternatively, we also can access the bot directly to its web browser to set it up. So first we select the bot's IP address. Then once we access, we are able to, we need to key in the username and password. Then finally, we are able to access the web browser. Web browser has all the necessary settings which the app is able to do. And plus there are additional setups that also web browser can do. For instance, this one has time profile, which is same as the app. Sounder and timer. You are able to set the sounder and timer here as well. This is the additional board settings. Board settings is you prepare the board how it should behave. And card, user cards. You can add the user cards here. As we mentioned, our smart controller is able to accept Bluetooth and QR, especially the Bluetooth. Bluetooth requires us to have a separate app, which is known as MicroID button. So using this app, you are able to transmit your signal, Bluetooth signal, as a card number to the controller. Same goes to the QR. In QR, we are generating a dynamically generated QR which has encrypted function towards it. So every QR you generate has a different code. This will makes it hard for anyone to copy the QR and reuse the QR. So additionally, we have another one more which we'll discuss in the next video presentation. In the next video demo, we will explain you how we are using the QR and the Bluetooth, plus additionally the 433 wireless remote as well. Smart controller accepts Bluetooth. So using the Bluetooth app, we'll press the button and we get granted access. Additionally, we can use QR to access the door. The QR is generated dynamically. When a valid QR is shown, the door access is granted. RF remote. We have many different types of RF remotes. We have switch types, we do have a keychain type, and we also have our own custom transmission as well. And this one is the keychain type. RF remote, also you can attach a time zone towards it. We can use the RF remote and restrict the usage of it by giving it a time zone. So this video will gives you the overview, an example that is exactly same as how you manage a user. You can manage the RF remote as a user as well. With that video, we have covered about our smart controller. Before we end our presentation, we would like to share additional information what we can use the controller with in other use cases. As we mentioned, we can use the controller as a vegan output. So in that cases, we are able to convert Bluetooth to vegan, or encrypted QR to vegan, or even all the RF remotes into vegan. So we have our controller. Right now it acts as like a reader to an existing controller. That means you have customers already have a controller, or you're going to use a different types of model so that you can use the controller software. So now you can use our smart controller as a reader towards the existing controller. So now you connect the vegan output to the reader input of the existing controller. So this way, when a user clicks their RF remote or using the Bluetooth app, right, the vegan output sends the transmission to the controller. Then how about the QR? So the QR, you can attach a QR reader to the input of the our smart controller. Then when the QR is encrypted QR is shown, it will decode in our controller and send as a vegan output of the data to the existing controller. So now you can manage the users and all that with the existing controller software. Okay. One of the beauty about this is this, what you can do is you actually can have a software developers or VMS integration easily can be implemented with this condition. Okay, so that means you don't need to integrate the existing controller software, how to do that part. You can actually make your own QR QR readers. Then you can output that as a vegan to the controller. Of course, because we are encrypting the QR, so we have a QR time-bound condition itself. So this is an extra condition if so anyone wants to do customizations. Smart remote. Before I talk about smart remotes, let's look into our previous remotes. Previously, we used to have remotes where we press the button to open the door. So we use this remote with existing controllers or existing doors. Okay, their function is very straightforward. You press the button, they open the door. But this has a small limitation. you have no idea who is opening the door, who is the one who is controlling the door. And if you want to remove it or delete it also, you have no other choice in this process itself. Okay. One of the other things that if your existing controller, like the previous one, what we discussed was the as a reader to the existing controller, you can add and remove the card number based on the RF remote. But what happens is you are just using it as a remote itself. So you can use our controller to replace this the existing remotes, okay, and use them as time-bound remote accessibility. You are able to control time zone, timer, and you can even create the remotes can be used in certain holidays, or even change the relay state. When you press a remote, the relay permanently opens or permanently close, okay, in a certain time zone remotes, or in another one more, the remote is able to open it in pulse, momentary. So you have independence in configuring your remote and how you want it to work. So if there's a need, some very time conditions and all that, you don't need to buy an access control or a standalone control separately and combine them together. Our smart controller is able to act as a smart remote and solve all your problem. Our next feature is sounder or timer. It is purely based on the time clock, where time automated triggers take place. Normally in school and factories or etc., okay, where the time driven bells happens. But yes, you can actually trigger other than bells because it's a relay which is triggering. So depending whether you want to trigger lights or something like that. But you know the concept of school, where time, periodical time will trigger the sound bells for your next classes. So we are able to use our smart controller to do these functions as well. Right? You are able to select your relay type itself. It's not only that you only have momentary, okay, you are able to set it as permanently on how long or off when. So you are able to toggle or trigger in any ways you want. So the relay is also independent for your own trigger method. Our momentary is timer is not is between 1 second. Actually, it's from 1 second all the way to 8 hours. So you're able to set a momentary time even for 8 hours. Right? Okay, thank you. This is our end of our presentation. I hope that I have covered and explained well. Yeah. If there's any improvements I need to do, please tell me. If there's any questions, please do ask. And we are here to enlighten you with anything that we can actually solve your problems. Hello, guys. So even you can tell us if you have it. So that was our what I call entire concept of our smart controller. And let me answer some of the questions I have here been asked. Like one of the questions I asked was the QR code. Do we need internet or both controllers and phone? How frequent is the changing of the QR code? So the QR code, okay, the QR actually works on offline. Okay, the controller, even though we say that our smart controller can connect to a Wi-Fi or internet basis and all that, but they can work as a standalone. So what happens is you have a real-time clock which is built in the controller, which keeps the encryption more secure. So now what you can do is we have two ways to access the controller. We have two types of QR. One is our own proprietary QR, which needs to use our app. Okay, so that one has a very what do you call that? Here only can be the QR only lasts for one how many, 10 seconds to 30 seconds, actually, 30 seconds. So every time you click on the QR, it generates a new QR. Okay. So the controller, when in access, it will able to accept the QR and accept. Then once you access the QR already, that QR cannot be used again in the same controller. And after 10 seconds, it cannot be used, the QR, in any type of controllers as well. So that QR is, that's why it's very time-bound QR condition. Another one more we have is the visitor QR, where you can generate QR. Okay, if you have a programmer who wants to program, or even our future software, we will have a QR generation. Actually, in our app also, we have the visitor QR generation, where we can set from which date and time to which date and time the QR can work. And the QR works only on that particular period of time. So that one is a visitor QR. We do have other methods we want to, in future, we want to improve the QR connections, methods and all that, but it's still in the progress state. And if you has any type of requirement and all this kind of thing, you can discuss with us and we can able to customize them. All right. On the second note was how many sounders can be set. Okay, so sounder is 16. Okay, so we have 16 different profile sounding, and it's actually you can set it as a sounder or some type of automation as well. So both of them are same actually. So we have 16 of it. Do you need more or something? You can discuss with us, and it also can be, we can figure out how to work around if you need more. Okay, RF remote. Okay, so we have another one more. RF remote can be assigned per user. How long is the distance of the RF remote? Okay, so RF remote and can be exactly 2,500 RF remote. So you can use every RF remote buttons into a card number. Okay, so every RF remote, so you can, because the user capability is 2,500, that means you can actually have total amount of 2,500 RF cards. The distance is actually depends on the transmitter. Okay, most of the transmitters and the actually the receiver, where you put the receiver it is and all that. In our normal day-to-day use receiving capabilities, you can look into around 10 to 20 meters. Okay, we have line of sight. Okay, line of sight, but there's no barrier interruptions and all that. We have looked into at least to 30 to 40 meters. Okay, actually went more than that, but I don't want to say anything more than that actually, right? Well, in-house details, we will safely say at 10 meters and 20 meters is nice. If you need to go more further distance or in remote, we need to add an external antenna to it. Okay, but let's say it's not for user, for any other use case scenarios, there is alternatively, we can actually increase their distance on wireless communication itself. And maybe we can, depending on your project, we can propose that method as well. Okay, so on the RF condition, we are looking at 20, 30 meters. So yeah, one of the functions, like we said, the controller can act as a reader to other existing controllers. So you can actually mix and match. It's not actually our controller only can be act as a controller. Our controller can act as a reader to your existing controller. So you can use our controller to use the Bluetooth to decode them into a vegan card number, or the QR code to vegan card number, RF to vegan card number, two other controllers. How long distance of the smart app to the controller? So, okay, so smart app to the controller, if a direct method, from the smart, so you access the direct method. That means the smart controller is not connected to Wi-Fi or any other communication. They are working as standalone. So in the direct method, when you bring you need to set the smart controller into AP mode. So you'll flash a card and it'll go in the AP mode. then you connect to the controller directly. Okay, so this is a pure standalone controlling type. So the direct method itself, you actually can access at 50 to 100 meters if you want to. Okay, it's Wi-Fi. It's purely Wi-Fi to one another. Normally, since we putting the controller in a box and on top, so we are looking at 30 meters to 40 meters. Okay, so from app to the smart controller. If the smart controller is connected to the Wi-Fi, then as long as your app is connected to your Wi-Fi network itself, then you should be able to access it without any issues. Okay, so that distance, I'll leave it up to you. You can decide how you have a Wi-Fi mesh network in your place and you cover a lot of Wi-Fi network and all that, then it's Wi-Fi capabilities. So I just can tell you about the direct method. The Wi-Fi and the what do you call that? Through the internet port forwarding methods is got to do with your internet connection and your Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so these are the parts. Anything that is there any other questions you all want to ask? Meanwhile, I'll try to think, is there anything else I want to tell you? So car parking. Okay. Initially, when the smart controller was designed, I was only we have been imagining the car park system actually. So we wanted to put a controller in each side as a reader, so that you don't need to lay a cable underground and bring the to the central controller itself. So it's isolated to each car parking system itself. So your questions, I think it's going in that direction. So I will try to explain that part. So when you have two sides itself and all that, you can go to the each controller and upload your card, okay, details from your phone itself. Opening them, you are able to open manually from the phone. If the devices are connected to Wi-Fi, then you can actually select which device you want to open manually as well. Okay, you can do that. But uploading the card, it will upload all the card numbers to simultaneously both or more. Okay, currently you don't select which. In the future, we'll have a full software which you can do massive controlling. That is full network based. Communicated based controlling. Right now, this is more likely you manage them in a small quantity, a small direction. So in that direction, we are looking at, you are able to upload, once you have all the lists in your app, you can upload them one shot to all the controllers. Okay, so it's done very simple and straightforward. How many card reader supported connects directly to smart controller? So the card readers, as long as they are vegan readers, okay, and you are able to, currently we have in the market, most of it generally 26 bits and 34 bits, you can use them. And in the rare cases, or even in the future, even 66 bits as well. There's 48 bits and 66 bits. So you can actually use those readers as well, vegan readers. And 485 readers, we have the QR, like you saw, the QR workings and all that is 485 readers. So right now, generally, most of the QR readers can, but we don't want to give you the guarantee because we don't know what are the other QR. We have our own QR readers or other 485 readers, so we are able to use them as well. If you have existing some kind of 485 readers, then maybe we can give a try and see, and we need to customize, maybe we'll try to customize that.
Dharma, I think customer is asking how many card reader. I think supposed to be two lah, is it? One for in and out reader lah.
Oh, that
Controller.
readers. Okay, yes. So there's two card readers then, in reader and out reader. So you can have a in and out readers itself. In this version, the current one, there's no anti-passback yet. Okay, so the anti-passback will come in future updates. Can we export reports using phone or PC app. So reports, transaction reports. So for transaction reports, right now, we don't have yet. Okay, we are building a full-fledged software. So once that is completed, then you can look into a full-fledged access control report system as well. So this smart controller is main basis is your standalones or pre-existing controllers, which you're going to upgrade them slowly up. Okay, this is in between PC-based communication and standalone. So this is somewhere in between there actually. So it doesn't have what do you call it, transaction reports and all that yet. Okay, so it doesn't have a huge memory in it for transaction to keep. So for these versions, we don't have any transaction yet.
Yeah, because let me give an example in what case study that you may use our this smart controller. Let's say you have a gated community, and then they have a guard house lah in the gated to block the access for the resident. Okay, let's say the guard house there I don't have any the network connection. Then I also don't have the PC, let's say, but I want to have a access control, have a barrier gate system to block the unauthorized access. So actually you can install the smart controller there. First, because we can using the mobile app, yeah, to upload and and delete the user. So this is really convenient. You no need to have a computer. You just with your mobile phone with our mobile app can do already. This is one advantage lah. Okay, and then you also no need to have any internet access so that you link it to the software. But it also you want to link to the software, maybe this in the future when our software is ready lah. But for this moment, yeah, you can just using the direct IP mode to using your mobile app to log into the controller to upload the user. This can solve the most of this communication issue. Yes. Any other question you have?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's it. Yes.
Yes, I also think if no other question, then we may end it lah for today lah. Or if you have the question later, then you can always WhatsApp me or WhatsApp Dharma lah. Okay. Or let's say, yeah, I think a new question come in.
Laura, yes. So, oh yeah, Laura can adjust the frequencies. There's 32 channels to be selected from. 31 channels from selected on, and our product Laura is CRIM certified in Malaysia. So we already got a CRIM for Laura itself. So any of the channels is able to be used without any issues. Okay, so if you're going to apply in a certain places and you need a certification, for a copy of the certification, we are able to give. Yes, it's easy to adjust. It just same thing. You just have to go to the web browser. Okay, you can the same as how we access access control. You're able to access to its web browser internally, and you can select the what I call it, the channels. Okay, so which channels you want to use.
Yes, for our smart converter and also our smart controller, every setting actually you can update or modify it from our mobile app and also the web app.
So yeah, the video links. Maybe I'll ask Stacy to email you all the links and all that.
Later I will send you the link lah for the video and also for the today the webinar.
Yes, PPT also will be. PPT, we made it into a video itself, so you'll be you can see it in the YouTube itself. And what do you call that? If you all nearby, you all can just drop by in our place. You can see our demos here and get more clarification. Maybe feel how to use them. You can get the feel of it.
Yeah, actually one thing I feel that our this smart controller not only for the access control use purpose, especially for this sounder and timer function. It's a really huge usage, If let's say you can use it for in the automation field. Yeah, they mean like what the Dharma said just now, not only to turn on the bell in the school, even for turn on the light in your house. Yeah, because we have a time to set it, even which day. And then, yeah, we have this time period to set. Actually, it's have a really a huge usage, So that if let's say you have any inquiry or have any special project may needs the customization or integrated to our smart converter or either smart controller, actually we are welcome. Okay.
Yes.
If without any question, then we will be end here today, Dharma. Is it
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, then.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone for your time spent with us. So we hope to meet you all again in the next webinar.
All right, thank you. And if you all have any updates, keep updating us so that we can improve something and come up with a new product for the next one.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, have a good day then.